Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, we're going to spend this beautiful Sunday afternoon together. We do have today here in the East, we have the full moon in Leo, and it is a snow moon, and it's very exciting. And today we're going to do things just a little bit different, but we're going to have fun together. We're going to spend time together. So those that are stuck in the house because of the snow, welcome. I am Catherine Robledo Walker, a Reiki master here in the United States. And I'm here today to spend time. We're going to do some healing today towards the end of the video. So for those that want to wait for the healing, it will be towards the end. And for those that are just here for the Cuppa, thank you for being here and sharing time with me. It's going to be fun. So let's go ahead, get comfy in our chairs, seats. You don't have to be lame, or you could lay if you want. So just relax. Hope you got your Cuppa ready. Give you a few minutes to grab one and get your favorite drink, your favorite snack. And let's just learn together, share together, and be together. So let us begin. So anyway, I just want to let you all know that I did pull 2 cards this morning. And I asked Infinite Source what it was that you needed to share or hear. And they were talking about ISA, ISA. It is to pause, to slow down, and hibernation time, which makes a lot of sense because we are in the snow today and we are all in our little cubby holes in our homes and making beautiful stews and soups and cocoa and all kinds of things in the kitchen, baking bread and just being in hibernation mode and just to enjoy the spirit of your home. So that's one thing they were saying about it. And they're telling me now that it's also about, even though this full moon kind of energizes people, it's to go ahead and just sit back and relax and don't be still. Be still. That's how you clear your mind. You have better focus and gives you serious contemplation. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that and enjoy. As right now, I can see the birds outside. They're all fluttering around and flipping around, doing their little snow dances in the sunshine. We do have some sunshine today, so I'm really excited and raring to go out there and just sit still for a little bit in the sun, the snow, and enjoying this full moon. And the full moon this time now is also, this is a full moon of empowerment, even though you might not realize that. Yes, it's time to gather our tools, our ideas, and things that we want to bring out to the world in the upcoming spring. So now's the time to be gathering, sitting still, recouping, recharging, and unless you're on the other side of the world where you are able to get out in the sunshine and not under the influences of all the snow and the way things are now, everybody's pretty much laying low, but we're all in it together. We're all in this together. So at least, we have someone, but we also have our guides and angels and deities that you work with, and they are all, they're all gathered to be with you. And sometimes they also are kind of glad in a way that you are just sitting back and not go, go, go all the time, because I always laugh because I say I always put mine in my angels and guides in rehab, because they're always like, oh Lord, what's she up to now? So anyway, just sit back, relax. So, and let me tell you a little about Issa. I will have my notes, and I will go over them and give you some information. And for those that want to write it, you can always write it and then put it in your journal or whatever books that you're creating, or any kind of creation that you're creating. So I'm going to just take my glasses off for a minute. I can't read with my glasses. So the lore of in winter, everything slows down. It freezes, it dies to be reborn again in its own time. So that's kind of what we're going through now. We're going through an empowerment of rebirth, and it happens every year, all the seasons, and it's just continuous all the time. So this is the one of the few opportunities that it's saying to look inside yourself without the rush and excitement of the warmer seasons. So that's kind of what the pulling you back is about, is, the warmer seasons are going to come, and then you're going to be go, 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 and you're not going to have time to sit back, relax fully, where it is silence. For those that don't like silence, you have to kind of like go little at a time until you're used to being silent or hearing the silent, because there's a lot said in the silent. So, when most people are, lived according to the rhythm of nature, it is the time they choose to rethink their lives and make plans for the future. So that's kind of what I was talking about, like pull back, slow down, recharge, and listen, because the plans of the future are coming to you now. The creation of thoughts are coming to you now. Those are your plans for the future. And if you're not listening, or you're silent, with your little cuppa of whatever you drink, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss those plans. So on this card, they decided to paint a bear on the rune to the ability to hibernate. So I will show you the card here. Issa. The ability to hibernate. Be still. Okay? So, during the cold winters, the bears are slowing down their metabolism. And of course, we all know this. We're taught this in school, but we are taught now as adults. And during the cold winters, the bears are just waiting for the arrival of spring. So that's kind of what we should be doing, is waiting for the arrival of spring. But there's only one exception, and that's the polar bear. They were saying polar bears are associated with ice. So, and this is what the meaning of the rune Issa, because it's Anglo-Saxon rune that is talking about that bears are associated with ice, snow, white, light, stop, stillness. So that's kind of a hint of what's going on right now. We have the snow out here. We have a snow moon, full moon. So we should take that time and use that cycle of the full moon, number one, to finally release and let everything go, because you get a brand new slate now to create. Listen to infinite source, our divine infinite source. Listen and create. Just be still, because your brain and your heart and every chakra that you have and your biofield are creating. You're creating with the infinite source, the divine infinite source. So that is just truly amazing, a miracle in itself. So the translucent sheet of ice, they're saying, is perfectly illustrates the meaning of Isha. Everything that was previously submerged in the water froze. So if you were standing at the edge of a river and the water froze and you looked down, you could see everything that is frozen under the water. Now, some fish are not frozen, but they're moving along, but they're still very slow, very silent, and that is what's going on. So, now, they're also talking about how when the lake is frozen, it's kind of like, when you have a piece of amber and possibly you have one or that has something, an insect in it, where it's frozen and you can actually see it. So it's all about reflection of ice, reflection of amber, and things that you need to see. Because then you could look at it from different angles and you can see the details and shapes of the fish. You can see everything that's under there, even the seaweed. You wouldn't see all these things if you're having a rippling effect. If everything's rippling, you're not going to be able to see underneath. And now it's frozen. We're in stillness of the snow moon, everything frozen, ice, and now be still, be quiet. So while we meditate, it might be like nothing is happening. Sometimes when you meditate, you feel that way, that nothing is happening. We're just sitting in silence sometimes. That's how it feels. But we are all full of inner activity. It's difficult to see our problems from a broader perspective while we live in the moment. Just like an iceberg, only a small part protrudes above the currently observed water surface. To appreciate what surrounds us, we must stop. And of course, a lot of teachers have told you that, and masters that you're seeing on YouTube are always talking about that. We're always on the run. We can look, perceive, and notice, but certainly we are not fully seeing. So, meditation training in Buddhism begins with exercise aimed at mastering the internal dialogue in our heads. We got so much going on there. They're saying that thoughts are like the clouds that are floating by all the time because of the internal dialogue of our heads and what's going on. So the ideal of many Eastern philosophical tradition is inner silence and emptiness. Not particularly attractive from this point of view for Western culture, because emptiness synthesizes with non-existent. And we already know what is, for it is to be, but nothing is not. And who among us would like to become nothing. So that's kind of why we have a hard time, because in meditation we resist sometimes. All of us that are starting it, or all of us that do it, sometimes we're resisting because of that feeling of nothing, of you being nothingness. So, that can really jab a very egotistical person. And because they are like, well, I don't even have to tell you. You already know. So trying to be nothing is probably very difficult for some people. So the Chinese Taoists, however, explain that emptiness has its benefits. Could we use a jug that does not have enough space to pour water? Would a house without empty space, hollow doors, windows, and rooms make any sense? Of course not. So, and a person who is overstimulated, too full of what surrounds them, has no place for new things. And that is the biggest thing that I'm trying to explain. So, winter symbolically teaches distance and absence, which are necessary in order to explore and pursue one's goal later on. We cannot pursue a goal. We just can't. So that is something to keep in mind, that even though we get these charges from different moon cycles and different astrology placements that are going on right now, and some of us just want to barrel full force, it's best just to pull back, silence, to prepare also how you're going to do it. This is what was very beneficial. I'll use myself as an example for building a business, for becoming a Reiki master, because I had to pull back, get rid of everything that was going to distract me, and be fully committed, fully in meditation and silence to hear the guidance from infinite source, divine infinite source, so that I would do the baby steps to get going. And that's something you can do too. That's why they're telling you to journal, because those are your baby steps. Your dreams are your baby steps of where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. So, they're talking about deep introspection can have a dark side as well. Because when you cut off external stimuli to explore our inner self, descending into the inner cavity of our mind, this can lead to numbness and desensitization. I can't say the word. Descent. Like, stop. Descent. You don't feel. When we withdraw too much, our ability to feel slowly fades away, and our hearts gradually become shards of ice. Okay, this is what can happen to you when you have a little too much of the hermit. Too much to where you don't talk to anyone, you don't go around anyone, you don't socialize, you just cut the world off. Balance. There has to be a balance. And that's what helps, because you do have to go around your family. Yes, they're telling you now, oh, get rid of everybody and family members, yeah, but you cannot shut yourself off to the world unless you go on a deserted island and you live all by yourself. Which, if that sounds good to you, then that's what you must do. So that's what they're talking about, becoming a shard of ice, unable to love. And I have met a lot of people in my practice, in counseling and other things, in healing, that people have kind of become shards of ice. They have shut their hearts down, and they become like the Snow Queen. Yeah. And eventually and intellectually sharp and skilled, finding human flaws. That's what happens because they're looking, because of the shard of ice they've become, they're looking for all the faults of others. So all the flaws, all the imperfection, because they're dead inside. They have closed their heart. So when a piece of ice falls in our hearts and eyes, it takes a great power of innocence and sacrifice for the warmth to dissolve the ice crust. Just as Kai in the Snow Queen movie did. So Isa is a freezing rune. Its name means ice and thus everything that is cold and unsuspended. When it appears in your, when you pull Isa in your reading spread, they're talking that, it gives us a tip to stop. We got to stop. We got to cool down, take some distance from certain aspects of our life, but there has to be a little balance because you still have to, unless you step out your door, if you don't step out your door, you're not going to have any kind of interaction with anyone else. Even on the phone, Messenger, Facebook time, or YouTube, whatever it is you do. Yeah, you just can't shut yourself off because then you become the Snow Queen or the Snow King, and nobody likes that. You've lost your warmth. You've become cold as ice. We can cool down and slow down, and hibernate, but again, balance. So, in connection to people, Isa often refers to the inner self of the inquirer. These are things buried somewhere deep in our subconscious. And doing QHHT, I am working in the subconscious, pulling it out for you to speak and find out what deep buried secrets or what is bothering you, for healing and for hearing it, number one, because some of us don't deep meditate or journal or anything else. And sometimes there's things even beyond what we thought about that needs to be heard. So for healing. So things that we would rather not think about or not do, realize that's why we come for healing. There's things inside us that we don't wish to share. We don't wish to, maybe it's through feeling like someone's not going to accept you, or, how they're going to judge you, in other words. But the thing of it is, you don't ever truly get your true sovereignty until you finally let go and just get things out of you, really. Because it doesn't matter anyway what anybody thinks. It only matters what you think. And we're our biggest judges already. So we failed, we did things, we've done horrible things, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the past. This is the future. So it's time to introspect now during the cycle time of the full moon all the way to the new moon. Okay. Full moon is letting go. Full moon is getting rid of those dark shadows, working through your dark shadows, and finding out how to grow from what you're going to heal through your introspection, your plans, your baby steps. It's going to teach you a lot. So now, Issa will also indicate distant people who show no emotion. Now, I'm sure that you run into a lot of people that don't show any emotion whatsoever. They're like little robots, and even when they talk to you, they're like no emotion whatsoever. You're like, is there a spark in there somewhere? So they just won't. They're withdrawn. They can be insensitive. They can be introverted. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It takes healing, but when it's to the point where they have no emotion, that's not a good thing, because we have to be in control of our emotions, balance, but you have to have an emotion in order to do any of the work, to do any of that. So, and if you're one of these people that can't get around anyone else, or someone says something, or it triggers a thought memory and you're just crying, well, crying's, healing, but you also have to learn to heal what is truly triggering you. So being in that introspective mode, that's what it does. It does heal you, because you're getting in tune with all your shadows, all your dark things, all your memories and things that are holding you back from growing, living in your full sovereignty. Yes, we do got to get rid of some people, because there's some that just aren't good for us anymore. That's just the way it is. You need to walk on, walk away, move away. So they're saying that finally the association with ice can be literally used by the runes to show the inhabitants closest to the north and south poles. Highlanders, cold-loving people, or someone who works in a cold environment, such as a mountaineer or a winter sports person. So, they're also saying that when asked about the location, ISA will most often indicate cold places where it is difficult to withstand the temperature without appropriate warm protection. This will be in frozen mountain peaks, ice rinks, ski slopes, even the interior of a refrigerator or a cooler. So we can find similar energy in spaces where all activities are suspended, where a person doesn't have full freedom to manage their time and their actions. For example, all kinds of places where arrests occur, prison, and areas where restrictions on freedom, you have none. So that will also catapult you into being cold as ice. But most of the time, a lot of times, you might be going in there because you have shut down your heart and you're not emotional anymore, and you have entities and all kinds of stuff on your attachments that you're not healing. So, of course, that place at times, not always, is going to give you that time to introspect, because you have restrictions on your freedom. Now they're talking about time. Let me Let me just take a quick drink. You as well. Thank you for sharing this Sunday Cuppa with me. The time assigned to this symbol is mostly the period of winter and cold days. Ooh, what we're going through now. So it's impossible to associate the Yule Sabbath with a rune other than Issa. In describing the dynamics of the course of events, Issa talks about very slow or non-existent changes, delays, and inactivity. So those are some of the things we do not like. You know, if you're a go-go person, summer hot heat, let's go, to the summer hot heat, you're never going to experience the cool down time, the hibernation, the recharge time, and just allowing infinite source to come in. So that is something you should think about. Now, relationships. Now we're going into the relationship factor. The relationships shown by Issa are devoid of exuberance and sometimes even cold. For a new relationship, it can be an omen of distance, difficulties when talking about feelings, or the lack of openness, right, on one of the both sides. In longer-term relationships, there's a possibility of a pause even, separation, or simply the feeling of standing still. Issa often indicates sexual coldness or impotence of one of the partners. Cold as ice expression. Because it's causing withdrawal in the erotic sphere. In reverse, this could be a lack of intimacy between partners, So it may mean that one of the parties' feelings have cooled down very much. So they have a problem with expressing emotion or have become completely indifferent to where it just stops. That's it. Completely indifferent. So that is something to think about too. Are you being cold as ice? Are you being non-warm? Are you showing your partner the warmth, the other side of the balance? Got to have the warmth like a hot cup of soup. So, a hot cocoa. So, yeah, share that. Open yourself up little by little. Might be hard. Or for those that are starting a new relationship, trying to get to know their partner, sometimes that takes baby steps too, and then sometimes you just come on full force. I don't know your personality, but those are things just to think about. Don't be cold as ice just because your heart is shut down. Don't always looking for a new person. If you're looking for that they have to be perfect. They have to be a list of what you wrote. Oh yeah, they got to be tall. They got to be slim. They got to have this career, make this kind of money. If they don't go down that criteria because you're wanting them to be perfect, thinking that now it's going to be perfect because now you got this person that has a dot on each list. Well, Infinite Source has other plans sometimes. They're going to teach you some great lessons. And but those are things you got to know. So just be cool. Baby steps. So, so now they're going to talk about the career part. If Issa appears in your work spread, you may show you have a career break or a need to slow down a little bit. And Usually it predicts being stagnant. So when that happens, of course, you're going to have less opportunities for development and growth. Things are going to come to a halt. So think about an opportunity to reflect on your career path and goals, referring to a specific profession. A lot of us right now have careers, long time, 25, 30 years, maybe more, but we're all thinking about changing our careers and moving in a different direction, or possibly even expanding what you're already doing. So this helps reflect on your career path and goal. So it indicates, they're talking about specific profession. It indicates activities related to work in the cold ice, snow, or in the winter. In a reverse position, Issa, which we did not get reversed. We had it up this way. This can symbolize unemployment. So when you get this card deck that we finished the series with, if it's reversed, then it means unemployment. You're totally unemployed. So, but this is a journey into yourself. When you become unemployed unexpectedly, this is a journey into yourself in search of solutions to the situation. Maybe it's time to rethink your career and possibly change your profession. Sometimes all that happens so that we do those things, right? So just take it in account. Now, health. The Issa is about introspection and contemplation, like I said. It can be sometimes that shows up as a warning about your health. So it points to all kinds of problems related to low temperatures, possibly low temperature in your body that is not going well. You're not generating enough chi, prana. So that could become a very difficult thing and health problem. So sometimes health problems, you can have colds, flu, rheumatism. Sometimes it represents numbness and a dull sense of touch. Remember, we were talking about that in the relationship. As a medicine, it can be a painkiller or anesthesia. If this were to be a clue of what to do, it may suggest deep meditation or a cleansing fast. So that is something that you can think about. We didn't get it in reverse. If we would have got it in reverse for the collective today, it could have been apathy, losing weight, and eating disorder. So that would be one of the health issues that you would have. And then the magical use, this is very useful. You want to ease problematic emotions. Remember, I told you got to balance your emotions. You have to have emotions or you're going to be cold as ice. You're going to be the snow queen, snow king. So, you can't be crying every few seconds when somebody's talking to you, unless you're in counseling. That's the only time you should really, well, when you're by yourself, you're introspecting. Yeah, you're going to have triggers of crying. But I'm talking about have you ever talked to a friend on the phone and every 2 minutes they're just crying, or they're just they're not in control of their emotions a little bit? Yes, they're spilling the beans to you to help with company and stuff and listening, and you should listen, but it also is showing you what is triggering them, their emotions, where they need healing, and that is just something that I noticed because having to deal with everybody's biofield chakras and getting everything back in order, QHHT, getting to the subconscious. But it's time now that we have got to move forward and become balanced and start going out there, sitting still, uh, doing your baby steps. The baby steps start here, you know, all the thoughts that Infinite Source is giving you, write them down. You won't remember them by the time you get up to go make a sandwich or whatever. I can tell you that. There's times where they've given me stuff, and I'm like, so I go make a sandwich and I forget. So just letting you know things, just from experience too. So I'm like the grandma that tells you little tidbits of experience that I've had that will help you fall in the hole. Because you're not looking down a little bit. You're always looking up. So just letting you know. So the energy of this rune, of this card, will cool you down to an important meeting, the meeting of yourself. Properly used in a runic spell, it will help to freeze a dispute with a neighbor or stop the impending events. It is also a great rune for those who want to enter very deep meditation. Issa will help you cut off from external stimuli and look deeper into yourself. Yep, time to deep dive into yourself. So, the key word correspondence is ice. We are today in the energy of snow moon. Ice, snow, cold, hibernate, stillness, introspect. So, people, inner self psyche, insensitive person, cold-hearted, distant observer, someone without emotions, introvert, Highlander, person living or working in a cold environment. So those are things that is associated with the correspondence of Issa. All those things I just said. So you can pause, write them in your journal. If when you get this card or rune cards, you can write what we're talking about, and you will understand a little more, because these things, when you're by yourself or you're doing your own cards or healing, and for some of you that don't believe in cards and healing and tarot and whatever, it doesn't matter. You can still use these cards to find out where you are in your health, your career, your everything, pretty much. They're just little tidbits to help you get over that edge, They come through Infinite Source to help you when you're, it's just like you use them to get in touch with yourself sometimes. The things that you never even realized that was in your subconscious, or things that, they're tools from Infinite Source to show you whether how much you've grown or what you need to do to grow more, or there's just some really good insights on what they teach you. So don't be so closed-minded. Open your mind to things. Just research it, try it, and then if it doesn't resonate or you don't like it, then fine, toss it out or give it to someone. But it's like, how are you going to know if you like that food or not? The new, from a different culture or different dish, if you don't try it first. So, religions, it doesn't matter. Somehow that came to you, or you're not sitting here by accident. Spirit puts, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And that is true, because we're all students, we're all teachers. So you're not here, you didn't come here, unless in this channel right now, unless you're coming just to spy and whatever. Doesn't matter. Hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah, they give you the tools, they give you the people, they give you the anything. Sometimes even the thoughts when you're just quiet and silence. Silence bothers a lot of people. A lot. But it is in the silence that is going to help you the most. Okay? Just be open to that. Be open to that thought. So, anyway, they're just saying on the activity, slow down, stop, freeze, meditate, contemplate, introspect, be still, contain oneself, be apathetic, and don't be insensitive. So self-care, you want to self-care right now. This is the time because, you have time for your baths, your protection baths, your cleansing bath, your purifying bath, whatever bath that you need, your body needs, your soul needs. It's time. Whether you need to condition your hair or, file your nails, do whatever. Gentlemen too, it's so lovely to see pampered men. I'm sorry, but I think it's wonderful to see when a man is taking care of himself, taking time out to do those things. It's amazing. So, the Isha card also it corresponds to the Hangman. So those of you that are into tarot and 4 and 8 of Swords in Tarot, the planets Saturn and Capricorn sign in astrology. Okay? So Saturn is the little test that we get that become challenging. But those are the tests and things you have to master in order to move on. Saturn will give you a gift after if you master those things. So that's another thing to take heed. So now this card, Isha, is associated with the deities of Jack Frost, Morana, Shaiman, Skadi, Boras, Ymir, Dead Moraz. Those are deities that you work with Isha if you wish to further your knowledge and your aura and everything. So let's go ahead and take a moment here, take a drink. I'm going to grab my card here that fell. All right, and then we'll go. I only pulled 2 for collective, so that's all we're going to go over. So while you're taking a cuppa, taking a drink, moving your chair or sitting position, laying, whatever, take a minute here for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and do my little drink, reposition myself. My chair keeps sliding down all the time, right towards the camera, of course. So if you hear a crash and burn, you know what happened. So, I hope you all are doing good today. It's Sunday. It's just a rest day. The snow is lovely, and sometimes we forget just to breathe and give grace. Give thanks. Give thanks that you're sitting in a chair. Some people don't even have that. Some people don't have a roof over their head and more. So that's something that you should keep in mind. Some people don't have right now with all the things that are happening and, where you're at. Some are in shelters and other places and some are on the streets. Please say prayer for them. you know? It only takes a moment. And also give grace that you're okay too, and your family's okay, so your well-being and your health. So now, the next one that I pulled for you was Iwas. And I'm hoping I'm saying this right. Iwas. Here we go. Iwas. And the picture is a black horse. And of course, we are now in Feng Shui, the fire horse. Okay? And getting ready for the Chinese New Year. And hopefully you have all your Feng Shui symbols in place in your home. For those that practice Feng Shui. Sometimes, like I said, open your mind, read a book on Feng Shui, see where you can place harmony, all kinds of things in your home, even like just colors you wear and colors in your home. They all harmonize with different frequency and vibration. So that's another thing to think about too. So let us read about Iwas, talk about it. Iwas is partnership, technology, and teamwork. So that was something that I pulled for the collective. So, but according to lore, the famous cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead was once asked the question, which human invention is the first sign of civilized society? It was expected that the researcher would talk about making tools, a wheel, hooks for fishing, maybe utensils, or about grinding stones. But the answer, according to Mead, was a sign of human civilization was the first broken bone that had healed. In the natural world, sick, injured, and malnourished individuals can rarely count on survival. The fact that we have discovered healed fractures in fossils remains shows that thousands of years ago, people were able to show compassion and care for the suffering members of the tribe. If the brutal definition of evolution coined by Herbert Spencer as survival of the fittest, and we always hear that, survival of the fittest, were to be true of humans, we would not encounter such findings, or maybe there would be fewer people today. By the way, the theory of evolution has developed considerably since the time of its founder, Charles Darwin. According to newer approaches, what makes species stronger is not only competition, but also, and perhaps most of all, mutual aid, someone helping you. Those who can communicate and give something back can count on getting help when they need it. In nature, we call this altruism of receiving, reciprocal. Clownfish keep the anemones clean, and the latter give them shelter from predators, birds of different species. They warn each other against danger, and monkeys groom their companions' fur in spots they cannot reach themselves. Collaboration is a law of nature, as powerful as the fight for survival. People unite not only with each other, we know how to reach beyond species, divisions, and tame some animals, so that we can bind our fates with a knot of mutual responsibility. If there is a dog or cat next to you, think about the chain of generations that connects it with the moment when the first wolf or the wildcat looked for warmth and food in human dwellings, and the first human who let them stay and provided a roof over their head. Of course, we had a vested interest in this. Domesticated animals could be used as a workforce. Horses were used by our ancestors. Of course, we all know that. As a steed of warriors, they're powerful warriors, rushing toward each other in battle. A motor or a primitive threshing machine tied to a treadmill, or a natural engine that puts a blade at the plow in motion. As we read in the Anglo-Saxon Rune, horse is the translation Ewa's name. So when we're saying Ewa's, we're talking about horse energy, horsepower, horse, the power of horse. So we have wild mustangs, we have all kinds of horses, horsepower. We all here in the country, in the mountains, we, use horsepower to plow our lands at times, to, just as goats, keep the land clear and the grass, and just enjoyment, and just even for healing. Touch a horse, be around a horse, and you will be healed. You will gain a friend. You will have camaraderie. You will have collaboration. So throughout time, we've had all this help from horse. Some people have not given honor to the horse for all that they have done or all that they do, because they don't speak, but in reality, they do speak. You might just not hear them because you're not listening, you're not in silence. So, thanks to them, we can now read by electric light, even though it's night outside. Cool departments with air conditioner, even though it's hot all around, and move great distances on a plane in the blink of an eye. All these are technologies that have come to us, and now it's even beyond. So we even have, lovely cars and all this technology now, good and bad. We have to discern now what technology that we do want to go forward with, because there is some technology that is not good. It's going to take away your sovereignty and your freedom. And that's something you should really think about before signing on the dotted line. Just letting you know. We are all admiring, our modern vehicles and our smartphones and visions of the cities of the future. But let us remember that the same futurists proposed to burn museums and radically cut off from the past. It is difficult to build roofs over the glass houses of tomorrow if we throw stones at their walls, because they were built yesterday. So, Ewa means a horse. In the old days, this animal was used for agricultural work, and they're still used here out in the mountains and here in agriculture where I live, in our communities. This is why they're associated with progress and cooperation. So, if you have the horse totem, you should remember progress and cooperation. So this is what he was talking about. So now, in person, like people, he was associated with friends, co-workers, people sympathetic to others, whose work is mainly based on good relation with other people. We're in the fire horse now. If you are not having good relation with other people, you're fighting against the grain in your where you work. Remember, progress, cooperation. So that could be your problem you're having, possibly. The symbol horse is strongly associated with the profession of a salesperson, customer service employee, or representative of a company or organization. You represent the company and organization. Now, for these people, the skills of negotiation and effective communication with others are very important. Very important. So they pay attention to their words and they try to win sympathy. So if you are blasting everybody, remember, words and sympathy will get you everywhere. So, EWAS could be a strictly technical occupation too. DIY skills, cooperation with professionals count. This includes all the handy people, all the subcontractors of projects that are requiring interdisciplinarity, such as the construction of a house, where you need an architect, a builder, electrician, interior designer working together. So, it's all about working together. We're all learning lessons, even I, learning to work together, collaboration, cooperation, progress. So, the locations indicated by EWAS is related to interpersonal contacts and places full of machines and devices that facilitate work. We can find among them the curious workplace and companies employing many people, as well as an engine room, server rooms, and car workshops. So the time associated with this rune card is the present and the near future, which focuses on mechanization and new technologies. Often EWAS tells us that the event will take place at work, on a business trip, or in delegation. EWAS, horse, delegation, power, but sympathy, not blasting everybody or not wanting to override everyone. You can't do that. If you do, you will fail. You will not succeed. Infinite Source will step in and change the situation, or possibly even change you out of the corporation. So think about that as well. So, delegation. So, it's all about mutual cooperation, respect, and kindness. Both sides work on the relationship and rarely goes beyond the sphere of friendship. It usually takes a close-knit tandem of great mates or co-workers and rarely refers to a marriage or a romantic relationship. Sometimes it can interfere more casual connections. So we did not get it in a reversed position. So if we did get it in a reverse, it would indicate in some cases where the person pulls the relationship forward like a horse tied to a plow. So in other words, you're being controlling, working that person to death, or it's not good. It's reversed of non-cooperation, non-sympathy, and non-progress. So, E was about building positive relationships with contractors, clients, like I said before, cooperation or signing a contract. When looking for employment, it's a signal to consider franchise, subcontract agreements. It directs our attention to professions related to devices, machines, like I said, technologies. When asked about the career path, the rune suggests considering technical professions such as construction worker, mechanic, plumber. We did not get it in reverse. When you get EWAS in reverse, it represents workaholism, or disharmonious cooperation and conflict of the team. It can also caution against a difficult client. So you're trying to collaborate, progress, grow, but when you get that card, sometimes it could point to a hard to work person, and they're being difficult. It's a difficult client situation. Now, health. EWAS usually shows up when the inquirer devotes too much attention to work, the workaholism, remember? And which means that their body doesn't have time for full rest and regeneration. That is what we're going through the snow now. Regeneration, reviving with full rest. So this encourages balance in your professional and your personal life. There has to be balance. And it's not an easy thing, trust me. Being in business, as long as I have, it's very hard to balance. Okay, those are lessons that I've learned as well. You have to balance the professional and personal life. That's what I'm talking about. You can't just stuff yourself in a room, in a house, and never be around anybody or talk to anybody. There has to be balance. There has to be. With your family, your husband, your children, work, everything. And trust me, it is not an easy feat. Balance is not easy, trying to get everything situated to where everybody, the outcome of everyone, is healing for everyone. The balance is healing. So you're just, and you're healthy, it's all attention to work. No play, no rest, no regeneration. Your body doesn't have time. Remember, you gotta rest. Be still. So balance your professional. Don't be a workaholic. You're not going to be a very fun person if you're always a workaholic. You won't even have nothing to talk about because you're a workaholic. So, usually people suffering from various types of occupational diseases, common ailments by this rune card is back pain, varicose veins, or carpal tunnel. Workaholics. To avoid such conditions, it would be advisable to prioritize proper rest and relaxation. So even if you got to write it down on a sticky note, work, play, rest, meditate. So it's just a thought. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what the collected cards were for today. So now, magical use. I love magic. Yes, magic. So, working with EWAS energy will help to establish better relationships. Okay. With other people, in the workplace, you can unlock your DIY technical skills. For those who wish to sign a favorable contract or agreement, meditation with this rune card will make it easier for one to find a balance between work and your personal life. Written in scripts and bind runes. It will help the rest of the symbols to work better together for the defined purpose of what you're doing. So, keyword horse, fire horse. This is the year of the fire horse. Number 1. Okay. So, we've already talked about the location, people, the time, the health, the correspond. Oh, I didn't tell you the corresponds to 3 of cups in the tarot, 3 of coins in the tarot, and the hand chakras, the 6th house and Virgo sign in astrology. So, the deities are Ogun, dwarves and gnomes and elves, if you're working with them. I can't say this one. Hephaestus, Diodus. You already know who it is, so take note. So anyway, that's what we had today for the collective in the Cuppa series. So now, I'm going to ask everyone, take a 2-minute break just for a moment. I have to readjust my, for healing. Well, I might be able to do it sitting down, but I really like upward. So anyway, we're just going to take a 2-minute break, bathroom break, cup of break, recharge whatever you need in your cup, maybe your position, and I will be right back.